good if you are. Dear Lord, bless the decisions of this body, guide us tonight and the future as well. Amen.
Mr. Stengel? Mr. Ravelette?
Here.
Mr. McNeese?
Here.
Mr. Lau?
Here.
Mr. Gornow?
Present.
Mr. Grove?
Here.
Mr. Salters?
Here.
Mayor Yocum?
Here. Adoption of the agenda.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second. Motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove to adopt the agenda as presented. Question?
Mr. Ravelette?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Gornow?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Salters?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Yes. And by a vote of 7-0, the agenda is adopted. Need approval of the minutes for March 22nd.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the March, what was it, 22nd meeting?
Yes. Second. Got a motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove to approve the minutes as presented. Question?
Mr. Gornow?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Salters?
Yes.
Mr. Ravelette?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
Yes. And by a vote of 7-0, those are approved. Petitions, memorials, remonstrances.
Yes, even though I probably don't need to do this for anybody that knew Randy Crismore, I know him by RC. He passed yesterday, and I wanted to make sure the council everybody keep the family in their prayers. He spanned my entire career. I tell people that I've got a pretty good gift of gab, and I got a lot of that from Randy, teaching me how to listen and how to talk. He was one of my shift sergeants in 1985 when I started, and he was my assistant chief for 8 years, and all the way through to when he moved on to county government. This community has lost such an asset, and just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. He never negative, everything was positive. He turned negatives into positives. So that's basically, I mean, anybody that knew him, I don't have to discuss what he was like. He was just that person. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And I would absolutely agree. Randy was a great guy, and the community is truly, truly lost. Anything else? Committee chair reports.
I'll give a report on the Public Safety Committee. Our last meeting, we had set up an election for the firefighters to vote on the possible merit system for the Vincennes firefighters. That election ended today. It was a week-long election, giving everybody a chance to vote. And the proposed merit system was we did not get enough votes to go on to the next stage. We missed it by one vote, and that's all I have.
Any other chair reports? Not, I'll move on to report of city officers. None. Public comment? No public comment. We'll move to old business. First up is business updates.
All right, so things are really going well in the city of Vincennes when it comes to businesses. Specifically, we just finished up our gift card giveaway. I do appreciate Councilman Ravelette for getting that taken care of. The big thing right now, I think you're touching base with winners that haven't come in. Is that correct?
Right, yes.
Yep, so we had a few of those that are left, but that's going really well. When you look at our business, a lot of them are opening up more. There's more people coming out. We're hearing a lot of good responses from everybody, which is really good. Obviously, we've got to keep the focus on kind of buying local. I mean, that's kind of been the thing that we've pushed through this, and we're going to continue to push forward. Kind of moving forward, I know I've had some discussions with Councilman Ravelette that we're probably going to look at doing this around back to school time again, because it was such a good success to give kind of focus there. they've got numerous holiday ones that happen, and we don't want to kind of step on their toes there, but back to school time is a pretty good time to encourage that. So we'll probably look at that, and I'll kind of kick that to Councilman Ravelette since he did such a good job with that before, and it was a very good event for us. But other than that, things are going really well when it comes to business in the city of Vincennes. When you look at small, medium, and large-sized businesses, the reports that I'm getting back are very, very, very good. So we're in a good spot. But that doesn't mean that we take the foot off the gas pedal at this point. We keep going forward.
And also want to mention that a shout out for the chamber because they are the ones that handled a lot of this for
Oh yeah, it
this
made it a lot easier for
program,
us.
So, without their help, it may not have happened. Okay, county and metric updates.
Okay, so since the last time, man, it's been a while since we met. Since the last time we met, we've gone from basically recommendation to advisory status on a lot of things. Key things to remember, we do have a lot of good news. We have seen some upticks in some areas, but that was kind of expected when we started to get to here. So we've had 7 weeks of blue, which is absolutely fantastic. We've seen new cases stay from the 0 to the low single digits. I think currently we're dealing with 33 active cases in the county, which is a really good number for all of us. The key thing that I want to emphasize, we're in a really good spot, but we need to remember with all these changes that we need to respect our businesses and make sure the community knows to respect our businesses. Some businesses are going to go and they're going to pull the mask and not require it, and some are. And the key thing that I do really encourage is make sure that we know the rules for our businesses, respect those that are around us, because, hey, there's still some that might want to do it, might not, and that's okay. But we just need to be able to respect those as we move forward. But our numbers have been pretty solid, and the mayor and I have gone over those. I mean, we go over them basically every day when we see them. We kind of text each other and go through them. They've been low. Like we said, we saw a little uptick, but that was kind of expected. I mean, as low as we got there for a while with, zeros after zeros, and we're kind of where you're going to see kind of low single digits as long as we're testing and going through with this. So I think we're in a really good spot. If you talk with the schools, things are going well in our schools. I know it's a key emphasis of mine, but things are going well. We just need to keep following the protocols that we had and just be respectful to others as we move forward. And obviously, if you haven't got vaccinated yet, probably would be a great idea to go out there and get vaccinated, with it being 16 and up now. So.
And along with that, in city buildings, we will still follow the mask mandate until further notice. We have discontinued the temperature check and sign-in, but when we have larger crowds like this, we're going to stick with the mask for now. So. Okay, we'll move to new business.
We're gonna pull United Way up first so they can get in and get out. He's got a great little presentation for us.
Yeah. Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. Thank you for giving us just a couple of minutes. I have Roger Strimming with me from the Knox County Public Library. Roger's tech friend and somebody that's helped us with this instrument. Mr. Salters and the mayor were instrumental with some other people in the community that put this effort together. Just a real brief history on how Wabash Valley Connect came together. The United Way has had some Lilly dollars that we have gotten from a very generous corporation to deal with COVID. Many of our food pantries and social service agencies and others have benefited from this. As we got in the later stages of the grant, community development was a part of that, and the Hospital Foundation had requested some dollars to put towards Aunt Bertha. Aunt Bertha is a social service search engine which allows communities to look for anything of a social service need: food, employment, health care, any of those kind of categories. And you'll see that in a minute when Roger demonstrates this for us. And what Aunt Bertha, it's a national organization, allows communities to do is to specialize and localize those searches so that you can prioritize as a community. For example, we'll show you in a minute what food pantry search might look like for Knox County or Vincennes. And so it allows us, kind of like Google does, to prioritize organizations that are community partners of ours. The reason we did this with the hospital, and you see on the map up here and in your handouts, the 10 county footprint of Good Samaritan. So there's 6 counties in Indiana and 4 in Illinois that are the main service areas of the hospital. The hospital, as you all know, has gone through a major upgrade, if you will, of physician services. Starting last year, this year, and then looking into next year, we're having 20 new internal medicine residents from Indiana University Med School that are here in our community, and they come from all over the country. And a lot of those physicians are not familiar with Knox County or the general area about where social services are. So Dr. McKinley, who is the head of the IU Internal Medicine Services, was using Aunt Bertha as an app in Bloomington, and their community collaborated with the hospital and other social service providers to bring this entity to their community. And he suggested that. The Hospital Foundation put in a grant request with us at United Way for Lilly dollars, and we put this plan together. So this has been launched, Roger, for about 2 months, I think.
Yeah, we launched January 27th, I think it was.
And Roger actually was our first official Facebook party. We had a launch. It was kind of fun. We got people to sort of start using it. The great thing about this service is it has an analytics, just like Facebook or other analytics that gives you monthly reports on progress. And we've gotten our first and second quarter, actually our first quarter report from Aunt Bertha about this, a number of times that different social service agencies are getting hits on this. The great thing about this for a consumer or for an agency or a navigator of services for clients is it's free. It's also, it's really, I started to say it's confidential, but you are required to enter no personal information in the system when you do your searches. All you have to do is enter a zip code. Roger will show you how to do that in a second. So we're really positive about this. It's one of these things that's going to get better as more and more people use it. And we have great collaboration between the school corporations and the social service agencies. United Way has its agency meeting actually tomorrow, where we have about 30 partner agencies that work very closely that want to make sure that information gets placed into this. And this is a lot more live and active than, say, 211. 211 used to be operated by United Way, and now it's operated by Family and Social Services Administration, which has its own needs, but it's really more localized, more specific. It gives local agencies more control of information they can put into this system. 2 reasons we're making this pitch tonight. One is that the mayor and I and others have talked about maybe putting some signage in the park or maybe at the pavilion, encouraging people to use this. We think that would be a great way to get more people to go online. You simply, and Roger will show you, enter WabashValleyConnect.org into your search bar on your computer or on your phone to get it to operate. So, I mean, it's a very simple sort of process to do. The other reason is there is a cost involved in localizing this service. It's about $750. No, it's more than that. How much did I tell you? $7,500. I'm sorry. Forgot a zero
I mean,
there.
$750 sounds great.
Yeah. So anyway, we talked about moving forward that the city might share in some costs with doing this. We have the initial cost of doing this with the United Way grant started in November of this past year, so it runs for a year. So we'll be looking at the possibility of maybe sharing some cost with some different organization. We thought the city would be good. So I've spoken way too much already, so I'm going to let Roger kind of show you how this works. If you have any questions, you can ask Roger, and thank you for your time.
All right, hi everyone, I'm Roger Strimming. I'm the Youth Services Manager at the library. And before I start, I just wanted to say I'm a little biased because obviously as they've been planning this, I've been involved with it. But this is a complete game changer as far as the services that librarians, like myself, can provide people. Before something like this, we would just have to remember the names of places that are open, even just food pantries. Okay, they're open, what are they called, what days are they open, I don't know, let's just Google it, and just kind of have to wing it when someone asks for a specific resource. The ability to go online to something like this that is not only all the information, but up to date and verified by Aunt Bertha, which is where some of that cost comes in. They have data teams that check this information I'll show you how we can suggest changes or add programs or get rid of old programs. And that just happens, anyone can do it, doesn't have to be tied to the organization, doesn't have to be anyone special, anybody can make changes, but they verify it and then say, yep, that's good, and then change out that information. So, to actually get on here, anyone can do it on any device, WabashValleyConnect.org, and this is the landing page. You can sign in, that is if you want to get a little more specific help and you are going to be continuing to use services and that sort of thing, or if you are someone like me who works in an organization that would be on here where you can access the back end stuff. But if you're just searching for help, you don't have to enter anything. You just go over here to the zip code and put in your zip code. And it will work for any zip code, and it will change what programs are available. So for instance, if certain food pantries are only active in certain areas, say, they don't cover Vincennes, or maybe there's some in town that don't cover, Bicknell, that will be reflected in the zip codes. So you see we've got 1,633 programs that serve people in Vincennes. That's local stuff, that's national stuff, that's state stuff, that's everything that's available to someone living in this zip code. And then you can use this nice little nav bar to look for more specific help. So if I'm looking for food, I can browse down and look at pantries, I can look at meals, nutrition, education. Each top level,
pull up the food pantry just to
Yeah.
show that list.
the top level stuff are the big ideas, and then under that it has more specific help. You can also type in if you're looking for something, so like food pantries will get me the exact same results as if I had navigated back through there. So when you search for something and pull up a tag, you'll get your results. And like Mark said, it works kind of like a Google or something, a search engine where it's going to highlight organizations that are nearby, that are serving your area, and it prioritizes from the center of that zip code. So, 47591, the center of that is, pretty much downtown. So, it will say the distance based on where that is, right? But then you do have the exact address. What's really nice is you can get in here and look at more information on individual programs. This one, you can see has a little check mark next to it. So Thursday Church has actually claimed that program, which means that they've gone in as themselves and said, hey, this is our program. They've gotten verified, and now they can adjust that information themselves. They can make sure it's up to date. They can get referrals through this website. So if somebody comes through here and clicks contact here, they can fill out this information and send it to that organization through this website. They can also, if they don't want to send it over the internet to somebody, or maybe they're not getting it for themselves, maybe if they're just trying to find some help for, a relative or somebody at their church or, a family member, they can print view, and it'll create a printable version that they can print out and then hand to somebody. And if you do something like this, there is no transfer of information. They don't have your name. They don't have any idea that you looked at this. It's just you have that information now. You can follow through to the website, Facebook, Twitter. You can go straight from here to Google Maps. So if you are looking to go there right now, you can get directions to it. And that goes, every single organization here has that information. Obviously, if an organization claims it, and they can kind of go in and add their very specific details, their description, how they in particular handle their business, they'll provide more information than just if we got the information off of just their Facebook page, we're just trying to guess. But it's fantastic. I've worked at libraries where we have had folders under the front desk
So if you can look, and as Roger was scrolling up and down, I encourage all of you to enter information to look for this, but you can see all these local food pantries. You saw Thursday Church, see Salvation Army, you see St. James Episcopal, Helping His Hands, all of those, Blue Jean Center, all of those are our local pantries. If you didn't have the kind of focus that we are putting into this local Aunt Bertha app, then you would get a whole bunch of listings that maybe people wouldn't know exactly where to start. But this localizes it, prioritizes it with our agencies at the top of the list. So we know that the people that are providing this information have owned these sites and that they're providing information for us. So that's a real plus for us. The other thing that Roger actually closed there, the first thing you see when you opened up this site was the vaccination clinic. That's an opportunity we have, that we can put something up there real quickly that says, hey, you know, if you need a vaccine, here's the information to call. So we thought that would be something that would be important for local people to see. One of the things that we're interested in doing at United Way and with this particular app is pulling together resources like I know the chief and several other people here in the room have been involved in the homeless task force. And our ultimate goal is to have a one-stop shopping where you could click on this. So if you were somebody trying to help a homeless person, instead of calling me or calling Thursday Church or calling a place and then running around, you know, trying to contact 4 or 5 different places, you'd be able to make one contact, one call to make. That's another advantage of a service like this. So that's kind of a longer-term goal, but it really is. I didn't mean to steal your thunder there, Roger, but.
And you mentioned how great it is to be able to put the local services up front. Obviously, in things like, you know, food or housing, you don't want to contact a national place. You want to get somebody local that can help immediately. In some stuff, there are quite a few national and statewide programs that are listed through here, and especially in some of the more, I don't know, I want to say like less frequently used, but some of the more difficult to find things, you know, legal care. There's a ton of national programs that can help connect people to resources where if they were going through something, help pay for legal services or find representation. There's some that in money in transit as well. A lot of like, you know, help pay for gas kind of things. See, like, this is help pay for gas, and there's some different, like, grants and organizations that give money to people in certain situations. Those are a lot more specific because they are essentially grant programs. But if you were in a situation where you needed that, you might not know that these nationwide programs exist, and they are giving out money. So they have an important place, and I'm glad that they are listed here because they can help people. But our priority is to try to fill everything, right, with try to get as many local programs in there as we can.
So the other thing, the last thing we really wanted to tell you about was we are getting some regular reports back on a monthly basis. We talk to the organization that developed this framework and allows our local agencies to plug the information, but they can give us monthly reports on how many hits we're getting, where are we getting those hits, and we can share that with the food pantries, we can share that with the health officials, we can share that with all kinds of individuals. Then Dr. McKinley that I mentioned, you know, he can look within his group of physicians to see that they're using this and how many people are doing this search that we hope will benefit all of us in terms of this. And then there are other counties, obviously, that benefit from this as well, one of which is Crawford, which is a county that we run a sister United Way in that county, so they'll be able to access information with that as well. We could talk for 5 more minutes, or we could talk forever, because Roger and I are passionate about this. I know Tim's been involved.
I'll do what I do best, and that's interrupt you.
Yeah, there you go.
So I guess my question is we all know, I mean, not everybody that understands that libraries are probably one of the biggest uses of the homeless population
Right.
out there because of their internet access and those kind of things. But what other trainings are you giving it? I know you're going to be giving it to library personnel, so they
Yes.
have it working. How about first responders in some way? Going
Absolutely.
to them and talking to them, because their interaction with individuals on the street is
That's a great, excellent question, and it's like, so like the next step, that we had a training for all of our agencies that were a part of this. We'll continue to encourage more and more of those, especially the smaller agencies, to join. Large organizations like PACE, for example, we're already in this system, but the smaller places like North Dock Social Ministry is a good example that, really need some help to get involved in getting information about this. But Aunt Bertha has a statewide Indiana person that coordinates the kind of training you're asking for. They're training some of the physicians on that next month, but they can offer free training for us. So if we wanted to do a training for the first responders, that's a great idea, and that's the kind of opportunity we're really looking for. And then you can tape. They'll tape those presentations. It'll be a Zoom-like presentation, but it's interactive. You can ask questions with a live example of this. And then it could be recorded so that other men on other people on other shift could view that as well.
I just see it as a
No, that's a great idea.
I see it as a tool that the police officers have when they show up when somebody's called because they're homeless sitting on a bench.
Right.
It gives them an opportunity to be a little more helpful instead of just showing up.
No, that's
how you doing?
Yeah. We'll definitely put that
Yeah.
on the suggestion for the next call.
I
Yeah.
would agree, it'd be nice if it was even like a little business card that had this information on it, they could just
Yeah.
hand out.
That's more important, 'cause a lot of times the homeless don't want to discuss that.
Right. Sure.
Yeah,
Give them a card that's.
that's right.
And again, it's important to emphasize that, we're not just talking about homeless with this program, but anybody that
Yeah.
needs any services of any type, regardless of income. And then you can qualify any search that you have, as Roger mentioned. You can look for just services for seniors or just services for young people, et cetera.
Yeah, you can actually break it down, specifically, help for infants and children,
Yeah.
seniors,
All kinds of
veterans,
filters.
your students, specific health things, which is a big
Mhm.
thing the hospital liked it a lot, was you could break it down.
Even more so. Other questions you guys have? Because I know you have other business you need to conduct tonight, and
Will
we
you be offering that as well to local pastors and church groups? Because,
Absolutely.
Because that is one thing that they focus around as well. And I know that with the amount of people that, we see at church that come through and
sure.
they're needing those things, and just it makes it really, especially because if you've got a congregation that stretches out multiple counties, this is a good opportunity to
Yeah.
say, okay, if we don't have something, who can help here?
Right. No, that's a great suggestion. So we'll contact the Ministerial Association, for example, as a part of that. That's a great idea. And then putting it in church bulletins would be a great way to encourage some more use of that. It's one of those kind of things, the more you use it, the more friendly it becomes. So-
Absolutely, and if, I know if some of the ministers had a place where they could go and get some of this,
Hmm?
this is great, because in fact, I was out not long ago and, picked up a set of this material and dropped it off to the Salvation Army.
Mhm.
It's already up on the board, and it's,
Yeah.
that's.
Well, and as you saw in the food pantry list there, the majority of our food pantries are faith-based, Thursday Church and Salvation Army and Helping His Hands, those are all faith-based organizations. So.
And actually, the ability to print out lists, and once you get into it, like the pastors and people can, they can log in and create accounts and kind of keep track of some of this. There's a ton of tools that we didn't touch on because that's
Oh, yeah.
just like for normal people, but they can create favorites lists of stuff that they're going to
Mm.
use often and that they've had success referring people to, that they can then just print off in one go, that they can kind of call back on every time, and all that information will be kept up to date in the system.
Yeah.
So even if they had printed off 10 times, if one day changed on one of the things that they had on that list, the next time they could open it up, it'll be updated.
So a pastor could go in and set
Yeah.
up a thing and have that all set up.
They could set up their own list of favorites and things that they wanted to search for, and then, as Roger said, that list would be updated frequently. That's a big advantage of this system over, say, like Children and Family Services. Hope's Voice put together a really nice local manual for assisting people with domestic violence kind of help. Well, that document's dated the day it's sent, and then, it's not updated. This is updated, and Hope's Voice can use this and create their own list within that. So, great examples.
Well, another thing too, like ideally getting this with our school counselors or social workers, so then they have access to it like that. I know we're winding down with school right now, but this will be a big push as we get into the next school year. And I've talked with our tech director about making sure that we've got easy access to this on our school sites specifically on our school computers that we give out. So the kids know, I mean, the kids are just as tech savvy as they can be, so they'll be able to pull up and look through these things as well. So, I mean, you're right, the more that we use this, the better information we're gonna get, the better it's going to suit the city of Vincennes, and that's what we want.
And then we'll certainly push out, I think, in the first month, I think we had like 1,800 hits, within the site, just people searching and looking for stuff. And then, but you can break that down by how many of those searches were medical, how many of those searches were for libraries, how many searches were for healthcare, et cetera.
I think within, since in Q1, and we launched on the 27th of January, so basically just February, March, we had 33 connections, which are people actually reached out to the specific organization through the site, like the
Yeah.
scenic steps, and build all that out. So,
And again, that's confidential. I mean, we're just getting raw data on how many people were getting hit, so. Great. We want to thank you very much for your time and attention. Great questions. We'll definitely follow up on those with our next, we just had a call today. So we'll keep you posted with this, and we'll come back to you closer to the time when our annual billing comes up and give you an accurate figure. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
The 750 figure? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I would hate for that.
So before budget hearings.
Okay,
I
well,
don't make them money.
move back up to ordinance 7/2021, establishing a merit system for the city of Vincennes Fire Department.
All right, so we had the vote, as Councilman Stengel said. We wanted 20, we got 19. So we won't be voting on this. I will be tabling it, though, because I want Councilman Stengel to do just a little bit more kind of follow-up. There were a couple things said after the meeting. So I just want him to kind of check base and touch base with, the fire department. So he's the head of that committee. I just want him to look in that. We're just going to do our due diligence on this to make sure all of our bases are covered, but that's done for right now.
I'm gonna ask, and they don't need to read this and vote on it?
No.
Okay. Then we will move on to RDC annual report. Mr. Smith.
The stage is set.
Welcome, Tim.
I'm to date on most of this stuff.
Thanks, Tim.
Good evening, Tim Smith from the Vincennes Redevelopment Commission, here tonight to provide you with the 2020 yearly report as required by Indiana statute. We are required under law, or actually Ms. Lane is required under law to provide the Redevelopment Commission with an annual report before April 1st, which she did at the March meeting of the Redevelopment Commission. And then in turn, we have to provide a report before April 15th to all of you. Just a reminder, I think you probably all know this, but the Redevelopment Commission is composed of myself, Bob Slayton, Steve Blinn, Mark McNeese, and Greg Parsley. We do have overlapping units of government that are affected within the RDC taxing area, and those include Vincennes Township Fire, Knox County Public Library, Vincennes Civil City Unit, Vincennes Community School Corporation, Vincennes Township Trustee's Office, and the Knox County Solid Waste Management. Now, this is very important, and I know it gets confusing, and we don't talk about it a lot, but it is important as it moves along on how about TIF expiration dates. So the major portion of the TIF, which is the original TIF, expires with pay 2026. And then expansion 1 is pay 2030. And expansion 2, which is a smaller area, is pay 2039. So very important as we look at what we're doing going forward. 2020 beginning cash balance was $2,638,383, and the ending cash balance was $3,740,635. Now, let me go ahead here with the bond capital projects fund. Beginning balance was $273,674, and the ending balance was $65,490. So don't get overly excited, because that sounds like a lot of money, but it's pretty much committed on to bond payments on Main Street, Phase 1. Takes a large portion of that. Some ongoing projects that we have, I think, again, you are probably aware of those, but I should tell you, is Main Street Phase 2 and Main Street Phase 3. We have two housing projects going right now. One is the Sure Clean area. They're behind Huck's and Ducky's Car Wash on Hart Street. And the other one is the Oliphant Project at 2nd and Main. We, as the RDC, have been looking at some possibilities of creating some housing TIFs in the future. A pretty long process about doing that, and that takes your action as well. So that's just in the talking stage right now, but as I think we all know, there is a problem with housing, and we, as well as you guys, so you know all about this, are involved. Chris Paff is the lead on the housing study that's currently ongoing. I think we're going to get some good results out of that. The mayor and Tim and I have been on a couple of meetings, and I'm pretty excited about some of the information that it sounds like is going to be coming back. So I think that's going to help us a whole lot. Also, you will find attached to your report, which I think is kind of interesting. I haven't read it parcel by parcel, but there is an attachment of parcels that fall within the TIF and what is captured. So I think that's pretty interesting to know, just for general information. Any questions for me?
No, I mean, I always appreciate you coming and explaining this to us, and obviously with our work with Reedy, I mean, we know what to expect, and they lay it out really well. I mean, you're right, they got the parcels there that let us know what we get there. I like the percent of remaining contracts that we can see what we're dealing with and what to expect moving forward. We've really been blessed that we've had an RDC that works well, not just with the city, but the other entities that they're involved with. I mean, you can hear horror stories all over the state of these groups not wanting to work together, but that's not what happens here. Everybody's kind of working in the same direction. We're very blessed that everybody's on there. And the nice thing with Councilman McNeese being on there, we're updated, every meeting about what's going on. So I feel like we're more informed, not that we weren't, but with him directly involved, we've got a direct line of information constantly coming through. So we're very appreciative of the things that are happening with the RDC, and we're looking forward to the possibility of the housing TIFs moving forward. I mean, that's the talk right now, and
Right.
where we're going to go and what's going to kind of come from that. So we do appreciate you coming and explaining this for us, Tim.
I would say that we're also members of the Redevelopment Association of Indiana, which is part of AIM. And most of us are on especially now that it's Zoom, or, that we're not having to drive to Indianapolis for those. Most of us are on those meetings. And I think the city of Vincennes has a step ahead compared to a lot of communities, especially on the housing. And I echo what you say about the membership or the makeup of the RDC. We don't always agree completely. That's natural, I think. But I think we all agree on what we hope to see in the future, and we are able to get there. Maybe not be 100% of what everybody wants, but we are always able to get there. So I think we do have a good makeup of a board and support staff, and to do that job.
Tim, I've been on that board since 2000. I was just trying to figure it out this morning. 2005, I believe, is how long I've been on that board. in that time, I mean, levee projects, Main Street now, the roundabout where we see Marshalls and Home Depot, Cantwell Marathon, all those kind of projects, 15th, Beer House. You can just go down the list of all the recent expansion that we've had in our community. It's because of the RDC. And that doesn't, and then the levee, the RDC being a part of that, without it, we don't really have a town. So pretty important stuff too. So I want to say that, and I've said this before in this meeting, these guys will tell me, your leadership there has been awesome, and I appreciate it very much. We wouldn't have the housing stuff right now if not for your due diligence doing that and going forward. So I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any
And
other
I just wanna
questions?
say real quick that every year the state tries to make changes to the TIF every year. And it's because sometimes it's abused in some communities. We are probably a model city to actually see and learn how a TIF should work. And if they, if you just come and look at all the progress that's been made, it's,
That's right.
our RDC does an amazing job, so.
Absolutely.
Thank
Joe's
you.
right.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay.
Okay, next
All that.
is claims.
All right, Kathy, you need to say something before that.
Yes,
so we
I
get it on
did
the
need
record,
to, yes, say something into the record. We do have, within those claims, there is the DNR window rehab project. There is in there a claim for Monami Studios in the amount of $46,235.75 that we'll be paying from Edit. We will be requesting $23,117.87 back from the state, so it'll be a 50% match. I did need to read that into the record.
Yeah, so it needs to be on there to satisfy the grant requirements.
Correct.
So that's why we needed to make sure that was done. So with that being done, I make a motion to pay claims in the amount of $142,823.07.
Got a motion by President Salter, second by Vice President Grove, pay the claims amount of $142,823.07.
Mr. Ravelette?
Yes.
Mr. Gornell?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Salters?
Yes.
And Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
And by a vote of 7-0, the claims are paid. Anything under miscellaneous?
I got a couple things I want to talk about. I just want I would like a request of a committee meeting. I don't know when we'll have it, but of the same committee that met to discuss Washington Avenue. I've had a few constituents that have come to me and really had some concerns about crosswalks or lack thereof, painted crosswalks, those kind of things. And what I would like that committee to do is to meet and have those individuals come and really put their, I don't want to say grievances, but their ideas on the record. So we could take that maybe back to the Board of Works or Mr. Sprague and just say, hey, this is the location that some of the people that are walking every day are having an issue with. Tim, as the president, or Joe, do you have any thoughts about that, I guess?
No, I mean, I like that. I like those
Yeah,
kind of discussions.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
and
those are good discussions.
I wouldn't mind setting it up like we've done with public safety. We just have a couple meetings, try to get as many people as we can. The more input that we can get, the better. And the key thing too, I know we've discussed this, all of us, and a walkable city is a healthy city.
Well, just
and it
by
encourages
where I-
people to get out and get about. And that's what we want. I mean, we want people to see us out and about and enjoying the city and enjoying it safely.
Even just where I work on 6th Street, I work right at Regions there on 6th Street, right by Gaddis, where the old Gaddis and the Chavez. We see people crossing there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's rather dangerous, but there's no identifiable crosswalk even a few blocks away from there. And I think that if that was in place, maybe it would stop them from trying to play
Well,
Frogger
and it's not
as
just
they-
those big
Frogger as they
areas
cross the
too.
track.
Because we think, like we've talked Washington Avenue, you're talking, 6th Street there, but there's a lot of areas, and I mean, obviously,
CVS is busy too. There's
some of the
people that walk
businesses
to
that we go
CVS, those
to,
kind of
school
places.
areas and things like that, so, yeah.
So that one, and I just want to put under miscellaneous, I know that I've had a number of constituents that were very happy that we had Mr. Beeman here talking about Rainbow Beach, and that it moving forward in May, and I just want to say again how happy I am about that, and how many people have come forward and talked to me about that as well. Is everything still moving forward there as best we can?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
I also have something under miscellaneous. A group came to me about the Pocket Park. They want to donate their time and spruce that up a little bit. It's going to be some mulch and some flowers, and I think I was going to pull some money from promotion of the city, set up an account at one of the local landscape businesses so they can not have to take that money out of their own pocket.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't been down there, it's a nice little spot, and as long as we keep it nice, people can enjoy it. And there's probably some more people using it now than have ever used it before. So,
I very
great-
rarely go by
great
there
place.
without somebody there.
I mean, there's somebody there always working. I mean, I took a break there
Yeah.
before we had our meeting. Councilman Lau for miscellaneous. I've had a couple of people approach me about the tennis courts. I know I brought it up with the mayor, but can you start looking in with your committee, maybe seeing if we can get like partnerships or like reaching out in that way? I'm just curious because I've had now 4, but I want to see what the pulse is. And you've got parks and public spaces, so if you can kind of reach out and just see where the pulse is with that, see if we can people interested, maybe starting a partnership or something like that. I'd be really interested to see if we can kind of build off that.
Sure, be happy to.
All right, I do appreciate
would
that.
say that Steve Beeman is going to take those
Right, but like
tennis
if,
courts back this year.
yeah, but if we can get like what I'm saying too is if we can get people to partner with it, then you get more community buy-in. That's what I'm looking for. And I mean, I know I use the pickleball courts as an example, but look how those things get used because so many people wanted to do it. So we've had people reach out. Let's see how poppable that is, and let's go forward with that.
Nothing else, we'll go to public comment. And we'll move to for the good of the order.
All right, District 1.
Couple of things nice happened in my district over the weekend. The Indiana Military Museum, as always, put on a fabulous show of the World War I reenactment. It was exciting. And then last week, Lieutenant Governor Crouch came down and toured the Pantheon and sat and talked with a few of us. And man, the positive things that she had to say about not just the Pantheon, but the entire city was really encouraging.
I think the big thing was like rural growth.
Yes, yeah, there's good things coming, and hopefully we can capitalize on some of that.
Okay, those were special, Brian, so those are good. All right, District 2.
A business on 6th Street, talking about the 6th Street track, J.E. Shekel just celebrated their 5th year anniversary here in town. The company is from out of town. It was on April 6th, their 5th year anniversary, and they were very appreciative. They weren't sure how, coming to a town that's already has some businesses like theirs, and especially being out of town, but they're very appreciative of the support, and they're busy all the time, they said, all seasons, and they want to be involved in the community more, and have 7 local employees that they hired, didn't bring people from out of town, and they were excited about that, and just being a part of the community for 5 years. Best by count, a high five out to CSX and the railroad 7 in my district that I believe is an accurate count. It's nice to drive over those, and not tear your bottom of your vehicle up. And just, it's great just seeing people out in the spring just doing home improvement things. I don't know if the stimulus, the second wave or third wave of stimulus money is any part of that, but a lot of people doing home repairs and sprucing up things. You can tell it's spring is in the air in the streets in Vincennes. That's all.
All right, those are special ed. Thank you. Getting this done. District 3.
In District 3, the county commissioners want to tear down the old records library on Bussard Street next to the worker release center. Used to be the old Knox County Jail. But it's on hold right now because the Historical Review Board wants to go into the building and take a look at it before they give permission to tear it down. And also I see that the old Gilbert's restaurant there on Willow has a official realtor selling the building, and I'm hopeful that there'll be a nice business that will go in there very soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, John. All right, District 4. Usually you blow us out of the water with all your announcements.
No, not this time. No, but I do want to say I appreciate Trevor Murray and the Vincennes Ministerial Association for the efforts they put in on the Way of the Crosswalk on Good Friday. That's great because most of the community churches came together, non-denominational, and it was a very nice observance. I had a beautiful day for it, and I want to thank them for their efforts putting all that together.
Very good. Thank you, Dan. District 5.
All right, well, I want to shout out to the people of Vincennes for their support of the local businesses, especially in trying times and so forth. I know that as I floated around and talked to some of the employees at places like Marshall's, and they've had such a good opening spot that they've ordered truck after truck because they just keep going through material. So that's great. I really appreciate the people of Vincennes doing that. We've got some great businesses that do some wonderful things, and I'm grateful for that. They, as we come into those months where we've got kids off, I know that those are the same businesses that not only support our kids in different activities, but also hire our youth. So I'm grateful for them and for all that they do, and we tell the kids, give our businesses a shot. They're looking for people, and it's an opportunity to work and do something and get something else on that resume before you head out to college.
All right. Mark, what do you got?
I just want to give a shout out to Caitlin Ashby for repairing the ESCO Walk building. As a person who walked into the chamber office for years and years in the back and hoped that the brick wall wasn't on my car when I left, it is certainly nice to see construction take place there and repair take place there, although it looks a little crazy and scary right now.
Looks scary now.
But it's so much better than picking up those bricks off the thing. That was an ambitious project, and I appreciate her doing that. So that's my shout out today.
Big task she's taking on.
Yeah. It's an interesting drive-by, for sure.
Yeah, if you like
Like-
looking at no
like,
building,
oh, wow,
the
they-
wall's gone.
the
You know,
whole-
so how that happens is there was a stairway in the back that was taken out in about 1919, 1918 is what best we could figure through some of that structural design people that came in there and looked at that. And I'm sure it was just like us. Somebody said, well, in 100 years, nobody will care. Well, it's 100 years. So we're all caring, and that building about fell off. But some ingenuity is going to fix it. So job well done.
Okay. It's what we like to see.
Yeah.
So what I got, when your sister-in-law works at Grassland, you get to do weird things. So we had to move, my brother and I had to move a couple original Harrison pieces, which, they're priceless, so it was a little stressful.
Is that just because you're big and can lift things? Is
Yeah,
that
it's
why?
one of those things like, hey, you lift weights, so you like to move stuff. Well, that's not the case. That's different. But we did invest a lot of money into that because that is very important for us, and it was right before this group came on. But the and it's kind of been put on hold, obviously, because of COVID, but some of the improvements that are happening inside Grassland are absolutely amazing, and I can't wait for us to be able to see it. She gave me a quick tour of some of the stuff that they've done. They're reopening windows that were originally there. The flooring's getting back to normal. They're getting the original wallpaper. I mean, it is impressive, the work that goes in there. They don't use everything's hand tools. And so it's a slow, methodical, tedious process. But that place is going to look absolutely amazing. And I mean, it's obviously a very important piece of history, not just for Indiana, but for us right here. And it's really going to shine. We went over a lot of the drafts of what it will look like, and I'm really excited to see what's going to come from this. And it's nice that we made that commitment as a group that we always talk about history being important here in the city of Vincennes, and we did put our money where our mouth's at. So I'm really excited about that. Mayor?
Real quick, Kirk Bush and his crew have got everything ready for the opening of Cub League this Friday. Last year they had their season, but it's good to see that as we talk about events happening. Cub League is kicking off this Friday, so if you want to watch some good baseball, watch Cub League on any given night, and you can watch some good games. And the other thing I have is after the next council meeting, city council meeting, I plan to do the state of the city.
In the April? Sounds good. Are you throwing out a first pitch this year? What?
And
Well, that's
Dr.
probably a
Stewart
good
will
call.
go out the first pitch. If there's nothing else, we just need a motion to adjourn. So we're
Okay,
adjourned.
thank you, guys. Hey, don't forget to sign the papers, please.
Thank you. Same bat time, same bat channel.